Hi everyone, this is Fahad Mirza and I welcome you to my channel. Testing all of these large language models locally makes a lot of sense, but the real value comes out when we see these models, these tools in dealing with real world use cases. In this video, I'm going to show you a real world use case by using Llama Index and LlamaCloud to review and validate contracts. The thing which we are going to build in this video is based on this, where let's suppose we will be provisioned a contract on the left hand side, and the contract contains a lot of clauses, a lot of information which we need to validate. So in this video, what we are going to do, we are going to create an agentic workflow that can review a contract for compliance with certain regulations. We are going to parse this contract on the left hand side into a set of key clauses, as you can see in this extraction with key value. And then from there, wherever it matches a relevant or pertinent clause from a guideline repo, we are going to then produce the result accordingly. In this particular use case, for example, we will be using that GDPR regulation from Europe. If you are looking to implement it in your own geographical regulation, feel free to do so. It's very flexible, and I will drop the link to this notebook in video's description. As I said earlier, I will be using this Llama Index in order to build this agentic workflow. Llama Index has a hosted environment called as LlamaCloud, which I will be using. You can also access it quite easily. You would need an API key from there, which you can also obtain. So I'm assuming that you already have that API key from LlamaCloud. Just go to this website and obtain it from there, or when you will access that notebook, it is also be there where you can access it directly. Okay, so let me take you to my notebook. And by the way, if you don't know what Llama Index is, please search my channel. I already have covered it in great detail in various videos. First up, install Llama Index, Llama indexes with the LlamaCloud and Llama parse. Let me run it. And once you would logged into your LlamaCloud account, it comes with a default organization, and you can simply create a default or a new project there, because you might need the organization ID and your project ID for this to work, plus LlamaCloud key. And they just come handy when you log in first time. It's not that hard at all. And this is installed. Next up, let's grab this nested async IO library. Now this nest async IO library enables nested asynchronous context manager in Python, and this .apply function, it patches the Python interpreter to support nested async await, and this primarily is allowing us to do asynchronous code, and that is the requirement when we call that agentic software. Okay, so that we have done. Next up, we need to set up an index for a guideline, and for that we just need, for example, our own regulatory document, and I'm just simply going to grab this GDPR document. This is from the your-lex website. Let's grab it. It is going to download it, and then it has been stored. Now next up, as I mentioned earlier, we would need to set up this LlamaCloud. Let me show you how you can do this. Very simple. So first up, we are importing that library. Then we are creating a new index, which we calling GDPR. This is where you would need to put in your project name. You can create a new project in LlamaCloud and your organization ID. And this is where you need to specify your key. So let me fill these values in. And here, let me quickly show you how you can create this index. So you see at the top, I have already selected my GDPR project. If you don't have that project, just create a new project by clicking on create project and then click on create index. Just maybe name it GDPR, and then you can either integrate it with your S3 bucket or any other data source. But I'm just going to select a file from my local system, which is that PDF file which contains all the data about GDPR, and then managed is fine. I just want to host it here on LlamaCloud embedding model. This is where you need to select your embedding model, and from here I'm just going to use the OpenAI's model. You can use any other embedding model if you like, but I have OpenAI's API key, so this is what I'm going to use. And I have validated the connection. Click on save, and yes, it's a paid option, and that is also done. Now let's keep the mode as is. Rest of it, I don't think so you need to change anything. And then you can click on deploy index. It is going to deploy the index in your project on LlamaCloud. And then just remember the name of that. So this is the project is GDPR project, and this is the index name, and this is the endpoint URL, and this is how you can use it. And on the right hand side, it is also telling you the progress. So you just have to wait for it to become finished, because it is creating that index. It is going through that document by using your embedding model. And the index is created, as you can see here. You can also double check it. If you go to your project, you will see your index present there. Okay, so that is done. Now let me take you back to my notebook. There, I already have run it, and it has created this retriever on the top of this index. Next up, we can parse that document or index with the help of llama parse. Okay, so this is going to give me an error. It is saying that I would need to specify the key. So this error means that I would need to set this llama clouds API key in my environment. So for that, the best way is to set it as a secret on the left hand side. So you see there are a lot of secrets I have set. I already have this llama cloud API key, and this is the one which I am going to set it, retrieve from this secret and set it in my environment. So I'm just going to close this, go back here, and this is all you need to do. I have imported the OS library. I have retrieved my Llama Clouds API key from my secret, and then now when I have run it, it is successful. Now, next up, we need to define these Pydantic functions. This is how we extract relevant clauses from the agreement or the contract in order to match it against relevant clauses in the GDPR. And what we are doing here is we are defining a schema, which is a way to structure the set of extracted clauses. And of course, if your own regulation is different from here, all you need to do is to change these clauses. Next up, you can define the compliance. And again, this will be dependent on your own use case. For instance, for the GDPR, this is a guideline matching, and then this is a compliance check. You can change it accordingly. And then of course we need to define the schema. And this is a schema which basically is a boilerplate for final compliance report. It contains a vendor name if it is overall compliant, and also the summary notes. And just as a heads up, this is just I'm doing on a condensed GDPR, but it will give you a fair bit of idea how you can set up this contract review workflow. Now we have defined our data. Now we can define the workflow. So first and foremost, let me first paste the code, and then I will walk you through what is happening there. There is a bit of a code around it because it does a lot of things, but I will try to explain what is happening. Let me paste it here. Okay, let me walk you quickly up. Okay, so what is happening here is in at very high level, we are defining this workflow and for the contract. So first up, we are importing all the libraries, then we are setting up logger, then we have defined some of the prompts for extraction for matching, and then of course for reporting, for compliance, one is for system, for the model, one is for the user. And this all text will depend upon your own regulation. This is related to GDPR at the moment. And then we are defining some of the classes, because these classes are defining the how to retrieve the structured data from the vendor agreement. And then for each class, what we are doing, for each clause we are doing retrieval against GDPR to see if it is compliant with the guidelines. And then once it has done all that, it is going to generate a final summary report with the output. This is all it is doing in a simple Python code, which you can also check through. And then for the model, we are going to use the OpenAI's model. You can use Anthropic if you like, or any other provider. And if you're using OpenAI, you would need to supply their key. As you can see, I'm again retrieving it from my secrets. And then the model which I'm going to use is GPT-4. Oh, so let me run it. And that is done. You can also check out all the workflows which are possible. And then we can run the workflow. I just uploaded a vendor agreement which is here in my data directory, and this I'll just open it quickly just to show you a glimpse. So this is just a sample agreement which is also present in that notebook, and I will give the link to you. So once we have that, let me just close it and we run it. There you go, it has given us a response that overall compliant is false, and there are some summary notes that the contract contains non-compliant clauses regarding subprocessor and all that stuff, which is not really relevant. So you see, it is quite easy to create an agentic workflow in terms of any regulation and compliance for all of your contract needs. I will give you the link to this notebook. All you need to do is to replace it, the regulations of GDPR, with your own regulations and this agreement as per your own, whatever agreement you are. And this is just a drop in replacement. And you would of course need two keys. One is OpenAI's API key and other one is the LlamaCloud key. Also, if you don't want to use LlamaCloud, there is also Llama Index where you can have your own local vector, but that is bit of a work. I would highly suggest that for these sort of things you go with the LlamaCloud. Anyway, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what do you think. Try it out. If you get stuck, put it in the comments. Happy to help out. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're already subscribed, please share it among your network as it helps. Thank you for watching.